And so I think that's the biggest mistake is that people try to use public relations to mislead people into thinking that their business or themselves is something that they're really not, instead of using it to authentically convey what you have to offer and authentically convey who you are as a person or as a business. A lot of times they're using it to build a false image. And when you do that, it's easy to crumble.
Hi everybody. In today's episode we had with us Jessica Ross. Jessica is a well-known publicist, actress and reporter. Jessica appeared in popular films, TV shows and magazines, and today she also manages the PR of many well-known celebrities. In today's episode we talked about why publicity and social media are important for launching an e-commerce store, what are the common misconceptions about PR, when should a brand start thinking about PR, and should a business do PR in-house or should they hire an agency?
Welcome to the Ecom X Factor podcast, where it's all about launching and scaling your business using sales funnels, automations, and smart marketing. And now, please welcome your host, the founder of Ecom X Factor, Yaron Bin.
Hi Jessica, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. I know it's very early over there, so I thank you for hopping on this podcast so early in the morning. What time is it over there?
Yes, it's 6:30 in the morning, so I'm just starting my day. And, it's great to wake up and start my day on a really happy, positive note. So it's great to be here, and I already had my coffee, so I'm awake.
Cool, great. And you mentioned that you woke up like an hour ago, but do you have any morning rituals that you do or anything that you did just before the podcast that you mind sharing?
Well, yes. I mean, I think coffee is definitely one of them. And another is stretching. I think it's so important to do some stretches, maybe some yoga or anything just to get your energy going and to get started for the day. I think it kind of like transitions from sleep to, okay, I'm going to be active. I'm going to be productive today. So just any type of exercise, really, even if it's 5:36 in the morning.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. Sometimes I'm a bit too lazy, but whenever I start out with some stretching, I know it's going to be a happier day. So I totally relate to this.
Yeah, starting coffee, right?
Yeah, coffee. Yeah, coffee is also very necessary, man. But I'm waiting for my wife to wake up with the first cup of coffee. So normally I'm just trying to make a bit of noise to wake her up because I can't wait for the first cup of coffee.
You're like, hurry up! The morning's starting.
But the noise has to be subtle. She mustn't know that I do it on purpose. So it's kind of a tricky game. Cool. So for the listeners, before we start diving into the topic, which is very interesting, we're going to talk about public relationships and how to increase the brand awareness, which is I'm very excited about it because I think it might be a bit overlooked by some store owners and marketers because everybody today is talking about direct response and like getting the conversion, going for the kill. So can you share a bit about your experience and your background and how you started before we dive into the nitty-gritty?
Yes. I have over 8 years of experience in public relations and social media. And I started working with social media all the way back in the MySpace days. Wow. So, since I started college, and it's amazing to see for anyone that's been and used social media since the beginning, how it started as something just for fun with your friends and nothing that you take seriously, not part of your marketing or business strategy or even, part of your career strategy when looking for a job or looking for clients. It was strictly something with your friends that was not professional or business oriented. And then all of a sudden, as the years go by, you see it getting more and more different features, more popular, every type of user from all ages and all demographics, to it becoming now part of a strategy to building your business or getting your brand out there. And like I said, it used to be something when it was just for fun and almost like extra credit, something you do on the side, to now people are hiring full-time social media coordinators, social media directors to provide a strategy and provide a plan because they realize that social media and marketing and advertising and PR all go hand in hand. And so I, like I said, like for anyone else that has witnessed the changes, it's incredible. I mean, I never would have thought that I would be spending thousands of dollars just on marketing and marketing, social media, Facebook ads, Twitter ads, promoting Instagram posts. I never would have thought that 10 years ago even. And so my experience with PR, goes all the way back since 2013, 2014. My first major client was the Kardashians' TV home. And I pitched it to, many different outlets from TV to online outlets. And I published a press release on a site called Patch, which is great. It's a free blog platform where you can post updates about your business or about yourself. And I highly recommend any business owners to create a profile on Patch because it goes on Google News. And so if you Google your business and you have an articles on Patch, it comes up in the news on Google. So with that being said, I published the press release on Patch because I want, when you pitch media, you want responses right away. And when I was pitching this home, I was really impatient. We wanted the home to sell, and we just wanted things to move forward. So I didn't hear back from anyone the first few days. So I ended up sending a tweet to TMZ with a link to the Patch article about this home that we had that is in the Kardashians TV show. Well, from TMZ, they read my tweet, and from the tweet, they looked at the press release, and they then published an article about our home. And from then publishing the article, I was able to get like Forbes and Inside Edition and over 50 other outlets to write about it just from TMZ publishing the article. So it goes to show you, like I said, how important social media and public relations are nowadays.
Sure. Can you, can you please define how do you grasp the whole idea? Public relationship. When you say public relationship, what exactly do you mean? Because it's hard to make the distinction between social media, marketing, brand awareness, public relationship. Every person, every marketer has like a different idea of what exactly is the scope of public relationship. So can you try to define this? What exactly is public relationship in your point of view?
Yes. So they all, like social media, marketing, public relations, and advertising, they all go together. But public relations is different because it's not forced upon people. It's getting the word out there through different media outlets and different events to help build a positive image about your brand, yourself, your company. And so public relations is putting yourself out there in the media, but it's not advertising when you're paying for an ad. It's not social media where you're posting a picture or a video. Public relations is interviews on TV stations, interviews on podcasts, interviews on online outlets. It's doing an event and attracting celebrities and other notable people to attract media attention and build buzz around your brand or business. So public relations is so much about managing your reputation, building a relationship with others, and like really getting the word out about your business in an organic, authentic way versus when someone sees an ad, they know it's advertising, versus if someone reads an interview about your business in the LA Times, they don't see that as advertising. They see it as trusted information from a trusted journalist.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So they're all, so for any business, it's important to utilize each, whether it's social media, marketing, advertising, public relations, to utilize each of them for each of their pluses. And they're, like I said, they're all different, but they all go together. And any business owner needs to think of each of them, and they can't ignore any of them, because if you miss out on one, it's like a chain reaction. The other, it's worse for the others as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think I'm not sure if I mentioned that before we started or during the interview, but I think many people tend to ignore this or overlook public relationship or just start to try to utilize or promote their reputation only in a very late stage. So I believe that this is incorrect. And what are your thoughts regarding when should one start doing public relationship stuff? When a
Yes,
brand should start, or an actor or a personal brand, someone who's promoting a personal brand, when should he start?
you need to start as soon as possible
Mm-hmm.
because, first of all, it takes it. I know from working with so many clients throughout the years, it could take several weeks, even a month, to hear back from media. I mean, at all these media outlets, every day they get hundreds or
Mm-hmm.
thousands of emails. So you have to remember, if you're doing something last minute, that doesn't give your publicist time
Mm-hmm.
to develop a strategy, to pitch to media, to wait. There's so much back and forth. People don't understand that you don't just get a media placement. There's the initial email. Sometimes you have to email an outlet 3, 4, 5 times just to hear back from them. Then
Mm-hmm.
there's phone calls. Then there's coordinating the interview. And then there's, the editor has to edit the interview, publish the interview. And so a lot of people don't understand. They think that, oh, you just send a press release out and 3 days later you have articles published about you. And that's not the case at all. So it's, if you're a brand or a business, you want to start doing press before your business opens,
Mm-hmm.
before your movie comes out. You want to build a buzz so that when your business is open, when your movie is released, everyone knows about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Versus if you wait till later on, you're going to be spending all this money on opening up your business and hiring employees, all this other stuff, and then no one knows about it. When you do open, all of a sudden you're opening, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, wait a minute, my business is open, I don't have customers, and then you go to marketing and PR because a lot of people overlook it, because I know it's so much to open up a business, build a brand. There's a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to overlook things like social media and PR.
Mm-hmm. I see. And you mentioned also hiring an agency and d- outsourcing this or using, I don't know if you suggest using an in-house public relationship team or hiring an agency, but do you think that people can do this also on their own, or are there any low-hanging fruits for a small business that tries to accumulate some public relationship?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, so of course, in the ideal situation,
Mm-hmm.
it's best to hire someone that's experienced in public relations, whether you hire an outside agency or you hire an in-house publicist. That really
Mm-hmm.
depends on your budget. So if you hire an outside agency, then they're usually having contracts, monthly retainers. You might have to sign a 3 or 6 month contract.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the price per month is going to be more because an agency has usually an office and employees and much more overhead versus, let's say, if you'd like to hire a publicist as part of your company, you can decide, okay, I only want to hire this publicist and pay them for 5 hours a week,
Mm-hmm.
and pay them on a month-to-month basis. It's without a contract. Of course, like if you hire someone yourself, you can hire them on your own terms versus you hire an agency, you have to work under the agency's terms. So that depends on your budget.
Yeah.
And if, let's say, you're really just starting out and you don't want to hire someone for public relations, there is a lot that you can do for yourself if you just put the time and effort. So, I mean, the first thing is to learn how to write a press release about your business. So let's say you have a business opening up and you want to announce to everyone, in your hometown and the areas that are, close to your business that people would drive to visit your business. You would first, I mean, if you can go on Google and there's so many templates, free templates about press releases. So the first thing is to learn how to write a press release. And the second thing would be to write a press release, let's say about to opening up your business, and go to all the local small media outlets in your hometown. And a lot of people don't realize that if you go to the website of different media outlets, especially local outlets,
Mm-hmm.
they have email address and ways for you to pitch stories to them.
Yeah.
And it's something even like I use Cision and I use Zoom Info as a publicist. I use
Mm-hmm.
all these sites to get contact info when I make media lists. But sometimes even myself,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm pitching local media outlets, I will go directly to their website because a lot of outlets that aren't LA Times or aren't, Us Weekly or Business Insider, like I said, the smaller local papers, the smaller local blogs, they have direct contact info
Mm-hmm.
on their website. And some will even say, oh, do you have a story? Pitch your story to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so business owners can start by looking at every local newspaper, local blog, local radio station, even like the public local access TV station. So a lot of cities, they have a public access channel. You can see about having your own TV show on the public access TV, and even if it's not a huge network, even if not a lot of people watch it, it's something that you can promote. It's something you can drive viewers to watch every week. And that's another thing leading into that business owners can do is to have their own YouTube or TV show on social media, and every week answer people's questions, talk about topics related to their business, find ways to connect with their current customers and to get new potential customers. And another way is if you go to, like I mentioned before, websites like Patch that allow you to publish your own articles. And if you just even Google, blogs that allow guest writers or
Yeah.
blogs, that allow guest reporters,
Mm-hmm.
that allow guest articles, there's so many different platforms out there that are looking for experts to write about their business. And so by writing regularly about your business in these various websites, that gives you something you can promote and tell people about. And also it helps put the word out there about yourself and builds trust and relationships with people. Will see you writing an article about something. They'll say, oh, I want to use them for whatever they do because they'll like an article that they read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's important to emphasize, in my opinion, so it's a two-folded win because you also get a backlink. So from an SEO's perspective, it's going to promote your brand. You might get the domain authority is going to be higher. And on the other hand, another plus is the fact that you can also boost and promote. Let's say if you have a report about you that is reported in a big outlet, so you can utilize this in your Facebook ads or Instagram ads or in social media and use paid traffic to get the word out there. And it's you connecting between, you're adding a lot of power, a lot of social proof because you were published in a different media outlet.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and you can repost it on all your social media as well. And you can tag the media outlet. You can tag everyone that you mentioned and hope that they repost it. And there really is a lot people can do to help get the word out there about their business. They just have to put the time and effort.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And let's say I want to hire someone. So how do I measure the agency's performance? What KPIs are normally used to measure the performance?
So yes, I mean, there's many different ways to verify and check out an agency. I mean, one
Mm-hmm.
way, of course, is to speak to someone
Mm-hmm.
that has worked with them before. And most agencies nowadays, they almost all have websites.
Mm-hmm.
And on their websites, you'll see different clients that they worked with.
Mm-hmm.
And one way is to reach out to a client that you see. Let's say they worked with, a business owner or a brand, and you can find their info on social media and say, hey, look, I'm thinking about working with so-and-so public relations firm. Have you, had a good experience with them? What was it like? And that's one of the best ways because nothing is better than a reference from someone that has worked with a business already, because, you don't know a lot of times, like I said, until you work with someone, as you know, in any other business, how it's going to turn out. So if you can talk to 1, 2, 3 people that have used that firm, and if they give good references and say that they helped them achieve their goals and they really enjoyed working with them, that's a start. And another is to see the different things that they've worked on, their types of clients, and the media placements that they've gotten. So it's important to make sure that, again, there's millions of media outlets out there, and a lot of agencies, most agencies, I would say, have some type of specialty, whether it's technology or entertainment or fashion or lifestyle. And you really want to go for an agency that works with businesses similar to yours or people similar to yourself, because you know that they are already going to have the established relationships with the appropriate outlets. Because again, a public relations agency can have relationships with all types of amazing outlets, but if none of them are the right fit for you and your business, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, I totally understand regarding the references, and it's definitely very important to get a reference about someone who is good to work with and gives great service. But let's say I have an e-commerce store and I would like to hire someone. So is there any data related goals or milestones that we can set? Let's say I'd like my brand to appear like free press releases in different outlets, or I want 20 backlinks to my store. So what are like hard data milestones that we can set that make sense?
So yes, so your goals would really depend. So each client and each project is different. So what you'd have to do is, whichever agency that you worked with, is talk to them about, you'd say, okay, look, I'd like to have this many placements per month. And then the agency would tell you, okay, well, realistically, we can do about this much. So when I work with clients, we usually have a range of guaranteed placements per month. So sometimes it's, let's say, 5 to 10 placements per month. Sometimes it's 1 or 2, even if it's a client that, is just a very freelance, part-time client. So it really, how many placements and, what you're looking for depends on, first of all, what your budget is and what you're having your agency work on. So it's definitely important to communicate your goals and communicate what your budget is, and then let the agency tell you what they can do. And before even committing to an agency, I would say the same thing to several other agencies and see what they all say, and then compare, because there might be one agency that you realize, oh, wait a minute, this agency is completely ripping me off. All the others are saying they can do 10 placements for this amount, and then this agency is saying only 5. Okay, I won't go with them.
Yes. Shopping for services. I agree.
Yes, comparison shopping, definitely.
Exactly.
I mean, I think it's so important to speak to several different agencies and to compare notes for each agency. And you never know till you might just connect with someone from an agency for whatever reason, much more than another agency, and that makes you want to work with them. Because when you do hire an agency, you guys are going to be emailing, talking on the phone, when it's not COVID, possibly meeting in person. So it's very important that you get along with them and that, you guys like each other.
Regarding the dynamics, so how involved is a public relationship agent how involved is the agency in the strategy of the business? I mean, if I hire someone, would he take over all the marketing and branding, or would he just do whatever I say, or it really depends on the agency? What's the dynamics between the agency
So when you hire a public relations agency, then the dynamics are going to be more straightforward. With an agency, it will be strictly managing your PR, whether it's events, helping to build your brand. But will a PR agency do the marketing, like placing ads or doing the quote unquote door knocking, like they say when you start a new business? An agency won't do that. They will focus on doing press releases, giving you strategy on how to get more clients, building a positive image with the public, doing holding events that attracts media and other VIPs. Let's say, like I said, your store is opening and you want to have a grand opening ceremony. So you invite the mayor and other local celebrities to come, and then you call the local newspaper, the local news, hoping that they, cover your story. But in terms of now, if you want your public relations, the person you hire for public relations to do more than just public relations, then you can hire a publicist that has experience with marketing and social media and advertising and have them focus on everything. But again, if you're working with an agency, they will strictly focus on public relations.
I see.
And so I've had clients that are PR clients where I update their Instagram, their Facebook, and their Twitter, and I also do their PR. So I'm a combination of social media specialist and publicist.
And this sounds great because, in my opinion, it makes a lot more sense because the message that you want to convey and promote is cross-brand. So it's what you do in the PR must intersect with your social media. So it makes a lot of sense to hire someone who also has knowledge regarding social media and also public relationship.
Yes, and it's very important that they all go together, and that the tone and style is the same. Because if, let's say, in your media and press interviews, you're coming off as one way, portraying one image, having certain opinions, then all of a sudden your social media person is posting things that don't follow that image, that are different, that veer beyond it, you're going to look inauthentic and fake and look staged. So it's so important that the message that you have in your ads, that you have in your social media, and what you speak about in your interviews, that all goes together and matches your business correctly.
And what would you say is like the bare minimum budget one should start thinking about doing PR, a monthly budget?
So the bare minimum budget, if you're looking to hire a publicist for, let's say, a few hours a week, I would say is no less than, let's say, $500 or $600 a month. And like I said, that's the absolute bare minimum. If you're looking to hire someone, a few hours to write a press release, pitch media, and just maybe other simple tasks depending on what you're looking for. Although when you work with an agency, it's usually, like I said, several thousand a month, but you get what you pay for. So if you're paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month for an agency, you're going to get a lot more press than if you're paying someone $500 per month. But like I said, with $500 a month, that is enough to hire someone part-time, help get the word out there, and really just build a foundation for your business.
And are there any misconceptions or huge mistakes that you see people doing in their PR, that you see people doing or brands doing, and you say, oh, this doesn't make sense at all, that you can share with us?
There's so many different things that you see, and I would say one is that when a company puts all this effort to having a good image and putting out positive press, and then someone from the company says something ridiculous or embarrassing on their social media. And that's one of the biggest things that you see is people being hypocritical. And all the time, whether it's a business, an actor, or a company, when they talk about one thing and they talk about, they have a message out there, and then their actions speak otherwise. And so I think that's the biggest mistake is that people try to use public relations to mislead people into thinking that their business or themselves is something that they're really not, instead of using it to authentically convey what you have to offer and authentically convey who you are as a person or as a business. A lot of times they're using it to build a false image. And when you do that, it's easy to crumble because all it takes is someone, to catch you, or, someone to say, look, this person isn't right. Like, this person is being fake. And then that completely ruins your image and reputation. And another thing is, a lot of times people will put press releases or put stories out there, and you're not sure what the purpose of it is. Every story or press release should have a purpose, whether it's stating your opinion on a news issue or announcing a project or announcing a business. But just to put stuff out there without a clear direction or purpose is also not a good idea.
Mm-hmm. I see. It's interesting because I would have thought that everything, in my opinion, a lot of stuff in the world, generally speaking, not only in PR, is staged. People put a lot of thought before they do stuff, especially if they do it publicly. And I assumed that there are a lot of people who are misaligned and are not authentic, and that they are conveying a fake image. Am I incorrect when I say that a lot of celebrities are not really authentic and they're just playing a game and being fake, but the crowd loves them?
I mean, I think that can apply to so many, it's so many people and so many brands and so many businesses. I think that in the era of social media and public relations with so many different media outlets out there, I think it's common for people from all walks of life to try to, portray something that's different or try to do whatever they can so that they can sell their products, whether it's making claims about the products doing something that they don't do or making false promises. It's such a competitive world, and there's always going to be people trying to take advantage and capitalize on things. But I do believe that the businesses, people and brands that end up becoming successful are the ones that build these long-term relationships with their clients and customers, and that people trust and people believe in. And again, that people see positive things, and not that people are looking at thinking, okay, that person's just going to that event because they want to get their picture taken. Oh, that business is just donating to charity because they want to look good. You want people to think that, okay, you're donating to charity because you really care. You're going to an event because it's something you support. And so by being honest to the press and by having, an image that really is who your business is and that stands for your business, you're going to have, better relationships with people, and people will trust you.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Just be honest and authentic. You have such a long experience in this world, and I'm wondering if PR is something that didn't, not in a bad way, I don't want to say didn't evolve because it sounds bad, but I would say PR and reputation is something that is old as the ages. I mean, everything is kind of the same. I'm wondering if you have seen any trends or any huge changes, or it's still the same old. You need to portray an image of yourself, which is the best image that you can portray. I'm not sure if I clarified myself well enough. Let me know if it wasn't clear, the question.
I mean, I guess, no, it definitely, it makes sense. Like how, what I say is how things have changed throughout the years. And
not on a tactic level, but on a whole level.
Oh yes, I mean a whole level. I mean, of course, things have changed drastically throughout the years, just because the technology, the news cycle is right away. So I remember, like, one of my coworkers said something at a meeting. They're saying, you can do good all year, but you do one bad thing, and that's what everyone will remember you for. And I follow that advice, and I try to have that advice in back of my head before making any decisions, because how things have changed is, if you do something wrong now, it's going to be all over the internet, all over social media. You can't avoid it. So if you say something, you do something, whatever it is, there's no covering up anymore. So with that being said, you have to be even more careful versus before we had all this technology, it was easy to make a mistake and hide it. But now there is no leeway. So it's not like in the old days when you're done with work, you go home and your personal life is your personal life. Whatever you do is private. Now your business is the world's business, your personal business, your life outside of work, outside of your business is there for the world to see and judge you. And so I think the loss and invasion of privacy that we have because of technology is something that has made the biggest change in public relations.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And it makes me wonder, do you think it might have, because you have to be so much more calculated, do you think that the level of PR has gone a bit back? I mean, it's not as good because the calculating every move slows down the ability to self-promote yourself?
Yes, well, it's, like everything else, there's a good
Pros and
side
cons.
and a bad side. And the good side is that, let's say, if you do mess up, you have the opportunity to apologize. And if you have a good strategy, because crisis PR is a huge field, and with all that's going on the past year, it's even more important. And I've worked with some campaigns before that are crisis related, and like I said, the silver lining is that you can bounce back. You can apologize, and if you authentically apologize and you change your behavior and you do so before the media outs you, and if you apologize and take responsibility for your actions before people call you out, then you can repair your image, or at the very least minimize the damage.
Yeah,
so that's
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, I think, like I said, that is one good thing about the technology and social media, is that right away, if you do make a mistake, you have the opportunity to apologize and to make amends, and to put yourself out there in a positive way.
And do you think that sometimes people do this on purpose? Because there's this saying that there's no such thing as bad marketing or bad public relationship. So do people utilize this as a way to self-promote themselves?
People use any strategy I've seen throughout the years when people want that. I mean, anything. You've seen the stories, and some of these things that people have done, I'm like, wow, that's ridiculous. And others, I'm thinking, wow, I should have thought of that. And, again, you never know how someone can go viral, what stories can go viral. I remember recently, I saw that story about the guy with ocean spray, and he was on a skateboard drinking ocean spray, and he became famous from that.
Wow.
I mean, the most random video went viral. And so some things is just completely unpredictable. Sometimes that's one of the most exciting things about PR, is that you never know what's going to happen. You can make a plan, and sometimes the strategy goes in a completely different direction than you think.
Do you have any other stories that come to mind? Because example of things that were crazy and you didn't understand why people did this, and later on you understood it was a positive effect, or anything that you did?
I mean, there's definitely things throughout the years where, sometimes you're working with different clients, and one strategy that you're utilizing isn't working. So you think of another strategy. And one time I had a client that was an independent film director, and I was just pitching about some of the films he was working on, just to get precious about the film and his job directing them. And we were getting some press, but I was really looking for some big feature interviews, not just some small write-ups that we were getting. So some of the movies that he produced, had some angles about school, issues with schools and bullying amongst gay, lesbian, transgender students. Well, I ended up creating an angle about his movie and how it was one of the few movies to shed light amongst bullying with, the gay, lesbian, transgender community. Well, I ended up getting 5 feature articles from creating a random angle that just off the top of my head. That was nothing to do with what I had in the original press release. And again, I didn't know. I was just thinking, okay, I watched two of his films before I wrote about the press release. And that's one of the fun things about PR is getting to watch films and TV shows for work. And so, and just like I said, from watching, I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. He had some scenes and, had a lot of things about, how much these students, get bullied and stuff in school. And just from that, like I said, just from one small angle, I was able to get a ton of press. And I think really being creative and thinking outside the box is so important. And I'm trying to think, I've had so many other clients as well. I mean, even with the Kardashians' TV home, I thought of that angle as well too. Another client that I was talking about before, Wes Isley, he's a magician, and every year he volunteers at the Children's Hospital in Virginia, and he gives magic shows to all the kids that are sadly in the hospital for the holidays. And whenever we haven't been able to do that this year because of COVID, but every time he has had the opportunity to do this, we've gotten so much press. And that's just in addition to all his 400 magic shows that he performs a year. So just like I said, little things and helping others, thinking outside the box, really can do a lot.
And regarding the COVID and the fact that everything went even more online and no social events and social distancing and stuff like that, how did this affect PR? And do you believe it will change PR because there's no less frontal meeting and you can't do any galas or events and stuff like that, at least for the time being? So
yes,
the whole game has changed?
PR has changed drastically because events were such a big part of getting your film, your business, your brand, yourself out there. I mean, before things shut down, there was, 50 events a week, easily 20, 50 events a week. I mean, every day there was new events on the calendar. And that went from having events every day to nothing. And so that goes to show, again, how important it is to be creative. And now that there hasn't been events the past year, I've had to think of ways for my clients to connect with people that doesn't involve meeting in person. And networking and, connecting with your audience is now so different because nothing replaces the in-person energy and feeling and communication that you get. I mean, really, you just can't replace it on Zoom.
Yeah.
And so now people, if you're looking to build relationships, you're looking to get your business out there, you have to put more effort because I think connecting with people virtually and building relations virtually is much more difficult than in person. Because I know I've met people, and I'm sure you have in person, where you guys connect and it's like 5 minutes later, you guys are friends and, you guys feel like you know each other and stuff like that. But when you're speaking online, you just don't have that rapport. You don't have that close connection for meeting in person. And so with that being said, you have to put that much more effort. And so you have to post more, do things like post more on social media. I've been telling my clients to have your own YouTube shows, have your own IGTV shows, because the great thing about like Instagram Live is that people can interact with you while you're talking. So you can talk about your business, you can answer people's questions, and you can promote your Instagram Live. You can say, hey, everyone, every Sunday at 1 p.m., I'm having Instagram Live. Come and join me. And, if you have any comments, you want to talk about something, you have a question, I can answer that for you. And really utilizing these live video platforms. Now we have TikTok, and another app that I love is Clubhouse, which I think is going to be, one of the biggest apps, within the next year or so. I mean, I got on it a few months ago, and I see it's growing tenfold. And these are all ways like Clubhouse, TikTok, Instagram Live. They're all ways that you can interact with people live, whether it's, Clubhouse, you're speaking to them, there's no video, it's conversation, which, absolutely incredible. You can host a room for your business and invite people into your room and talk to as many people as you want at the same time, which is really cool. And, with Clubhouse, since it's not video, you can be anywhere. You can wake up like I'm doing right now at 6 in the morning and talk to your customers across the world without having to set up your lighting and set up your camera.
Yeah.
So utilizing all these online platforms to communicate with people directly and build relationships now is so important. And then utilizing public relations to get press with these different outlets is equally important as well. One thing that's great because of COVID is that a lot of TV stations are doing their interviews virtually. So even if you don't live in the same city, you can still pitch TV outlets now because you don't have to go there anymore.
Yes. That's great. I haven't thought about that, but yes, it's an awesome opportunity for sure. Let's say I have an e-commerce store and I want to do an Instagram live. So should I, as the owner, should I open the Instagram live, or do you think I should hire a representative? And what would I talk about? Let's say I'm selling fashion clothes. So what can we talk about during this live?
Yes. So it depends on your experience with social media and how comfortable you are using social media. So let's say if you're, not very experienced with social media, I would hire someone to film you and promote it and, upload the Instagram live for you. And first, what I would do is whatever Instagram live let's say you have a fashion brand, there's so many different things you can do. One is you can talk about like spring is coming up. So you can say, hey, everyone, I'm having an Instagram live next week and I'm going to talk about the top 10 trends for spring, or I'm going to show you top 10 ways you can, get your winter clothes ready for spring. Something like that. Show some type of creative angle because people love to learn. People love information. So you want to get them hooked, like get them interested. So say something like, like I'm so excited to share like my top spring trends, or I want to show everyone, how to dress for, a holiday party or something. Another thing you can do is a giveaway. People love giveaways. Whenever I'm working with a brand, of course, who doesn't want to win something, right?
For sure.
I'm telling you, when you have host giveaways, people love it. And it's such a way to build buzz and to get people talking about your brand. So you can say something like, we're giving away $100 gift certificate to top 5, lucky winners. In order to be considered, you have to follow our page and like our posts and join us on our Instagram live. And so you make them do something in order to win. So that way you get their email address, you get more followers, you get more comments on your pictures, you get more reposts. So you have them complete an action to be considered to win. And then during Instagram live, say, announce the winners during the Instagram live, and people will love that. And when you do have any Instagram lives, Facebook lives, you want to schedule them at a time. You have to think, when is the audience or the people that you're looking to attract, when are they listening? What are the day and times that they are going to be online? And that's something I think a lot of people don't consider, is that you have to think of, okay, if your customers, most of your customers are in New York City, so you're going to not want to put something that is, let's say, 10 Instagram live at 10 p.m. You're going to want to think of their time zone and think of a day that, let's say, people in New York City are more likely to be online. So schedule that an appropriate day, and also schedule several weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, so that you can promote it. You can sponsor posts. It's very important nowadays that you spend some money to sponsor your Instagram or Facebook posts so that you get more people to look at them. And nowadays, you really have to invest some money if you want to get a lot of followers and a lot of people liking, a lot of engagement. So when you pay to sponsor a post, you also want to make sure that you're targeting the right demographics. And if you target, too wide a demographic, you're going to get people seeing it, but not so much people that are going to be interested in watching.
Cool. Very interesting stuff. It gave me already ideas, and I'm excited to start a giveaway to my own e-commerce brands. Can you share a bit more best practices? Although I assume it varies depending on the audience and depending on the demographic and what product are you promoting. But generally speaking, would you suggest doing
giveaways?
Would you suggest doing like a 10 minutes video, a 30 minutes video? Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, sorry about this. So I said it gave me a great idea, and I'm already thinking about a giveaway contest that I would like to do. But can you share a bit more best practices regarding like what would be the length of the video?
Yes.
Stuff like that. When normally works, like during the weekend or during weekdays. I know it. I assume it varies depending on the demographic, like that. But
yes. Yeah, so it honestly, it varies. So before picking a day and a time, I would go on Google and do research and to say something like, okay, when are, most people in, let's say, California, on Instagram, is to really do your research online to see as to when the particular demographic is online. And I'm sorry, what was the rest of the question again?
I mean, what would be the optimal length of the video?
Oh, yes. So the optimal length in a video, if it's just a promo video, let's say to announce your Instagram live, you want it to be like 15, 20, 30 seconds. Like, hey, everyone, I'm going on Instagram live Friday at 6 p.m. I'd love for everyone to watch and check it out. We're doing this awesome giveaway. That would be like 30 seconds. Now, your actual Instagram live TV show should be 10, 20 minutes, not that long. If you think about it, people's attention span when it comes to, watching things online is pretty short. So honestly, a 10, 20 minute live is more than enough for people.
For sure. It's very long.
And I think 20 minutes is a perfect length because that gives time, for people to log in and, time for people to think of questions. But yeah, I think 20 minutes is a perfect amount.
Cool. And would you also create a Facebook event for this?
Yes, I would. And I would also, if you're doing an Instagram live, also post on Facebook live as well too, because you can do Facebook live from your computer. So let's say you can on your computer, right, have your Facebook live posting, and then on Instagram have your Instagram live. So have two audience at once. And you can even have someone else, help you monitor the questions and everything like that. And just help you organize while you're on air. And definitely have a Facebook event, promote it on Facebook as well too. And also promote it on Twitter. If you have a Twitter page, LinkedIn, cross promote it on all your platforms. And also after, you can save your video and repost it on YouTube as well.
Yes.
So a lot of my interviews that I have for clients, even if it's an audio interview, you can save the audio interview and repost it on YouTube.
And you can also create a transcript and upload it to the website, and cross-promoting and content reproposing it's a great idea to get your message out there.
Yes, because the more places your content is on, the better it is for Google. And so I think like a lot of another misconception that I've had from clients throughout the years is that they want to be in only the major outlets. Like they'll say, I want to be in the New York Times, I want to be in Entertainment Tonight, I want to be in Forbes. And the thing is, you could spend all this time pitching these outlets and not getting anywhere, or on the other end you could focus on more local less popular outlets and get published and build a Google footprint. Because when someone Googles you, you want people to see your name and your business on the first page of Google. And it doesn't matter which outlets that you're being featured on, as long as you have press.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, like I said, they only care about these huge outlets. They only care about outlets that have 1 million visitors. But the thing is, they don't think about their Google footprint, and that when someone Googles them, nothing about their business is showing up.
It's very important. I mean, it's more important actually, and I think it's a great clarification that you did over there, because there's a joke. What is the best place to hide a body? On the second page of the Google search results.
That's hilarious. I never heard that. I'm going to use that joke one day.
So I totally agree regarding
I love
this.
it.
And getting
It's so
gradual,
true,
yeah, exactly. So and getting gradual press releases and increasing your footprints, and at the end you can get published on the huge outlets. But you it's better to build gradually. Makes a lot of sense.
Yes, exactly. Because when you are being considered for a bigger outlet, they're going to see that you are experienced and that you're able to even do those kind of interviews. So if you don't have a foundation, if you don't have a lot of other press, a major outlet is going to look and be like, oh, I'm not sure if they're going to be the right fit, because they want to know that you're able to speak in front of a large audience, that you're able to handle whatever questions they may ask. So they have to see, it's like building a resume. These outlets have to see your prior work before they can decide if you're a good fit for them. So if you're looking to be on these top outlets and you don't have a lot of press, then you don't even have enough for them to make a decision about you.
And it's something that I was wondering if I should ask or not, but I don't know how to really define the question. But let's say I want to do a public relationship on my own, but I understand that public relationship also has to do with networking and connections. And normally, would you say that the agency or the publicist has a huge advantage over someone who thinks he knows what he's doing, but just by the fact that he already has a lot of connections?
Yes, that's where an agency is very important, because they have years and years of experience and time working with these media outlets and building these relationships. And not only the connections as going about everything. For someone that's never worked in public relations before, they're not going to know the right people to pitch. So let's say you send a press release to an outlet. It might be a good fit to the outlet, but if you don't send it to the right editor, they're just going to delete your email and move on to the next one. So let's say you have a press release about fashion, but you're sending it to the local news editor. The local news editor might be like, well, this isn't a local news story, next. But then if you would have sent it to the fashion editor, they might have chosen the story because it pertains to what they write about. So again, it's like not only just pitching media, but it's pitching to the right people, because a photo editor is different than an assignment editor. A segment producer is different than a coordinating producer. And so understanding each person's role at an outlet is very important, because like I said, you pitch to the wrong person, they're not just going to forward it to the right person. They don't care. They get 1,000 emails a day. So that's where all the experience comes in.
And another thing that comes to mind when you mentioned this, I also remembered something that I heard about timing. So, for example, if you want to get someone like a celebrity to interview someone in the podcast, so I know that a common best practice is to wait until this certain celebrity is has a book that he just released, because now you know that he's probably doing like a roadshow and going on a lot of podcasts and interviews, because he's now promoting his book release or something specific regarding that he's trying to promote. So also timing is very important with regards to public relationship. Am I correct?
Yes. I mean, yes, timing is one of the most important things, and that can really make or break your strategy, whatever it is. So if you start, let's say, too early, and you build all this buzz and your business doesn't open for 6 months, then people will forget about you and your business. But at the same time, if you start too late, then you're spending money to keep your business open and you don't have customers or clients. So yes, starting at the exact right time, getting press out there right before your business opens or before your movie comes out is very, very imperative.
And if someone would like to start diving in deeper into this world and understanding more, are there any resources, books, or people that you suggest following?
If you're looking to get into public relations, gosh, when I was in college, I read so many different books about marketing and PR. But I mean, really, you can go on Google. There's so many resources to go on Google, and I would just Google, advice, public relations advice, really, because, like I said, with PR, it's not like medicine where there's an exact way to do something. There's so many different strategies and so many different ways that people have utilized to get the word out there about their business. But something I would advise people to do is to look at case studies, and you can research that again on Google, about different businesses and their PR strategy. And that's something that I did a lot in college, is to see case studies that worked with brands and case studies that didn't work, because that's really fascinating when you see these huge corporations over the years, how they use PR to build their image and how they use PR to grow. But yeah, it's, like I said, to really look at other businesses, and it's absolutely fascinating when you learn the behind the scenes of so many corporations out there.
Can you share any brands that you love what they're doing in regards to public relationship these days?
Yes, let me think about it right now. You're going to edit this, right?
Yeah, sure.
I know you're going. Of course.
No, you can also. It's also all good if you don't edit this, and you can think about this. No rush.
Okay, definitely. No, I'm trying to think. Yes, because there's so many brands out there that have, especially the past year, that have really made some interesting moves, both good and bad. So I'm just trying to think right now, and
I guess Apple is always doing amazing stuff with all the keynotes, and Steve Jobs used to do back in the days.
Yes, I mean Apple, of course, with how they took over. I think their strategy had to do so much with marketing, advertising. I mean, just because if you think about everyone has an iPhone now, and I think that is someone to study because they took over. I mean, if you think about it, before the iPhone, people had all different kinds of cell phones. And then the past 10 years, it just went to iPhone. And I think Apple's strategy was creating something that's simple and user-friendly. If you think about the iPhone compared to the other makes and models of phones, just the fact that it's called iPhone, it's such a simple name. Yeah. Just how to using it, all these different apps, the structure and the functions. I know, before I had an iPhone, I had an Android, and the iPhone really is, there's something about it that just makes it really easy for anyone to use, even people that weren't into smartphones like their iPhones. So there's something to be said about Apple.
Cool. I like to think about if you have any idea come to mind, just tell me. And are there any gadgets or softwares or apps that do you think that might be useful for the listeners in regards to public relationship, like an app that
yes.
aggregates all the data or anything like that?
I mean, there's so many different apps and websites that I've used for PR that are incredibly helpful. So one site I use is Cision, which, I get to find all the different media contacts and create media lists. I mean, Cision is pretty much the gold standard for PR. I've been using that for years. Another site for media contacts is Muckrack, and that's another great site to find anyone's info, whether it's an editor, producer, you name it. Everyone's info is on there. Another site that I utilize is FeedSpot. So FeedSpot is great. They find the top blogs for any subject, whether it's film or business or technology. So you can type top technology blogs, and FeedSpot will give you a list of the top blogs in technology. And not only that, it gives you a link to their website. So you can go to the website and see their stories and find their contact info. Mm-hmm. Another site that I use is Alexa. And I love Alexa because you can see the ranking of any blog or website and see how popular it is and compare it. Mm-hmm. And it's free, so that's also great. And in terms of apps, I mean, I'm on a daily basis, I'm using so many different apps, including I use this one app called Hours Keeper to keep track of all my different clients. So Hours Keeper allows you to create invoices on your phone and keep track of the hours you work for each client. So it's great because you can put the name of your client, their hourly rate, and each client has their own section. So let's say you have 10 different clients. You can organize each of your clients and each of their hours and invoice each of them individually from this one app. And it's so much better than, let's say, like QuickBooks or other finance apps because it really is simple. And like I said, you don't need any finance or accounting experience to create invoices and keep track of your hours. So I really love that one. And for editing videos, I use iMovie. I think for anyone that wants to edit videos and has no experience editing videos whatsoever, like myself, I recommend using iMovie. So hands down, I've tried 10 different video editors for my clients' videos, and that's like the only one I find that's simple and user-friendly and free. And another one, let's see, I use is Relax Melodies to help me sleep when I travel. So part of working in PR is traveling a lot, and I can't sleep when it's really quiet. So this app called Relax Melodies, you can like customize your own sleep melodies with like 50 different sounds to help you fall asleep wherever you are. And so I find that super useful. And another app I use is Newsbreak, which is incredible because it tells you every news story organized by category and city. So before pitching media, it's important to know what the top news stories are that day for whatever topic you're pitching. Because if, let's say, you're pitching, a business story and something really major happened, like with Apple, for example, well, you're not going to want to have your story about your business competing with Apple that day. So many times I'll look on Newsbreak before pitching a story, and I'll pitch to, let's say, if like all the business outlets are talking about, Apple, then, okay, well then I would instead go to maybe a different segment of outlets. Maybe you're also a mother. So I'd also, instead of pitching business outlets that day, I'd pitch to mom blogs because of that story about Apple. So it's so important to know the news stories every day before pitching different outlets. And and then I also use Photoshop Express. I love that for editing photos. I think it's the easiest and most user-friendly app to edit photos. And then Pick Collage to make simple graphics for social media. It's free, and it's also good for someone that doesn't have a lot of graphic design experience like myself. And then let's see, the other ones are, there's so many, but another one would be Waze to find where I'm going anywhere in the world. So, as you know, when you travel, it's super complicated getting around, and I feel like Waze is like the best app. It tells you about accidents and weather and anything that you could think of. And then, I guess the last one I can mention is Adobe Fill and Sign. So, as you know, when you have a business, you never know when you have to sign something, whether it's a contract or some type of form. And Adobe Fill and Sign is great because you can sign something on your phone wherever you are in the world.
Nice. Wow. But this is such a huge pain. Signing PDFs It's
Right.
painful. So I'm going to download this app like in a minute.
Right, I'm telling you, and it's free. And I found that while being resourceful and trying to sign a form with something else, and I wasn't able to.
Mhm.
And it was such a blessing. And you know, with business, anything can come up. And I'm telling you, like having to sign a form last minute and not being able to can really create a nightmare. So that app is one of my lifesavers.
Amazing. Oh, so thank you for sharing all these resources, and thank you so much for sharing all this valuable knowledge, because it's like really mind-blowing stuff that I didn't know so much about, and I still don't know much about, but you definitely clarified and gave me a lot of ideas. So thank you. Where can
But I
people?
really appreciate it.
Mhm.
And I love being able to help people and share my knowledge with everyone. And if there's ever anything else, I'm more than happy to answer anyone's questions.
Awesome. And my next question is connected to this. Where can people reach out, see more about you, find out about the services that you're offering?
Yes, you can find me online. I'm all over social media. Facebook, it's Jessica Ross 2018. On Instagram, I'm Jessica Ross Official. On IMDb, I'm Jessica Ross. And yes, I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter. Twitter, you can find me at Jessica Ross 19. I'm on TikTok. I'm getting back into it. So it's something I took a break for a while, but I'm definitely going to be posting more on TikTok. And my name on TikTok is I am Jessica Ross. So you can find me on all those platforms, and you can Google me. There's so many different articles that you can learn more about me on Google. And I have everything reposted too on my Instagram. So I always put stuff on Instagram. That's probably the best way to find me.
Cool. Sounds amazing. So we'll put all the links in the show notes once we publish the show. Sounds amazing. And yeah, as a publicist, you have a lot of backlinks and mentioning all over the World Wide Web. Makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, thank you. I try to make sure that whatever I'm doing, you know, I promote it, and I get the word out there. So that, you know, I'll be promoting this podcast as well too. I'll write a press release about it and everything.
Cool.
And I'm excited to share it with everyone.
Awesome. Great. So thank you so much again, and have a lovely day moving forward, and hope to speak with you again soon.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. And it was enjoyable. I had a great time answering your questions, and I look forward to speaking again soon.
Awesome. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.